I'm Katie. Welcome to Yoga Awakening and welcome to this short practice to reset. So this is a shorter, slower, hopefully comforting Hatha yoga practice with some really simple shapes and movements for any time where you feel like you need to reset the body, the mind, the whole of the being. If you're feeling tired or negative or drained, I hope that this practice will serve you. So let's begin. There's no need to have any props for today's class, but if you happen to have some, grab them, have them nearby. They'll only assist in making the practice a little bit more comforting and cozy. So I have a bolster. You could also have a couple blocks. One or the other is fine. And then a towel or blanket might be nice as well for one of our later shapes. So let's get started standing. So first we have a little soft movement to get out of the head and get into the body and just wake things up a little bit in a gentle way. And then we'll have a few forward folding poses that hopefully create a sense of inwardness and steadiness. So hands to the hips, come into your nice Tadasana base through the feet and the legs. And then we'll take some circles with the hips. So moving hips and pelvis through space as though you were drawing a circle on a piece of paper. And of course here the knees can bend. That might help you to get a little bit more into that range of motion. Let's take a breath in together as you move. We'll sigh it out through the mouth. Opposite direction with your circle. If you haven't gone there already, maybe in this direction you start to bring the spine into it a little bit more. Moving the spine through a little bit of flexion and extension, even some side bending. The whole body getting involved, and just let this be free and easy. Start to make those circles smaller. Let's wind it down back to our steady Tadasana slowly. So smaller and smaller circles. Feel the grounding down of the feet. And then find your way to stillness, mountain pose. Drop the chin to the chest. We'll take a half circle. Getting a little movement in for the neck. Chin comes to one shoulder, or over towards one shoulder, and to the other. And then back, chin to chest. Now chin up to open through the throat, and we'll take that same semicircle. Getting into all the little nooks and crannies, all the subtle sensation. Maybe some sounds here too. I often have some little crunches and sounds in the neck. And then back to Tadasana, our neutral spine. Great, we'll lift the right arm up, bend at the elbow, so the right hand can rest wherever it comes, maybe the back of the neck or the upper back. Left hand comes to guide that right elbow a little further. And then we bend over to the left as the hips bump to the right. Nice big opening through the right side of the body, through the armpit and upper arm. And make your way back to center, release. And second side, left arm reaches up high, bend at the elbow, right hand to the elbow just to guide it. Create a little weight, and we bump the hips to the left as we side bend over to the right. Soft knees. Gaze anywhere you like to feel comfortable in the neck. And we'll come on out, back to Tadasana. We'll take this into an open twist. So I'll turn so you can see me a little bit better. We're going to twist over to our right from our Tadasana, and you can feel free to bend the knees as little or as much as you like, but we'll keep a little sense of buoyancy there. So arms opening up to the right, find that big T, broadening through the chest. Let's take a breath in together. Inhale, expand, open. Exhale, soften into that pose. Inhale, back to center, Tadasana. And on our breath out, we'll take it to our second side. Open to your left. Bent or straighter knees, whichever you like. Just focusing on that opening through the chest. Big breath in to open and embrace. Big breath out. Back to center. Pause here in your mountain pose. See if you can become aware of every part of the body. Maybe especially all the parts of the body that we've just started to gently activate. Notice what those places are in your body. Maybe the belly starts to feel a little bit freer to move with the breath, to move with the diaphragm. To allow the lungs to really expand as the air moves in and as the air moves out. Let's take it into a wide-legged standing forward fold. So this could be a place where you grab your blocks. You might like those stacked or one on its highest height. You don't need anything here, but it might be nice to find a way to build something up where you can rest the forehead, widen the legs as much or as little as you like. Find that kind of sweet spot for you where it feels pretty good. And here, we're not looking for a big stretch, and sometimes in this pose we are looking for more stretch or more activation. But I invite you, instead to think of this as your kind of normal yoga pose, to just embrace it as an opportunity to soften. So again, it might be nice to have those props. You might build them up a little bit higher than you need them to be. Maybe you can bring the head lower. But come on out a little bit of maybe your deepest pose. And instead, we're using this as an opportunity to allow all of the blood and the energy, maybe anxiety or negativity or tiredness or anything that you've come onto your mat with, to just kind of feel like it's draining out of the head. So it's fine if the back rounds a little bit. It's fine if there's a little bend through the knees. Let the hands be relaxed. For me, it feels nice to bring the palms face up and send the hands a little further behind me so I can relax the shoulders. And then just feel whatever weightiness you might have been carrying, or any busyness even of the mind. Just start to seep out, maybe into your prop. You can envision it that way. Draining out of you. Just be here for another 30 seconds or another minute or so. Closing the eyes if you feel stable, if you feel comfortable, otherwise a soft gaze. Shifting your perspective. Bowing, quite literally, to the present moment. Surrendering into the present moment, so that you can reset, restart, renew. Let's make our way up. We've been here for a moment, so we'll come up slowly. Start with the hands under the shoulders. And then heel, toe the feet. So heels closer together, toes closer together, until you find your way into a forward fold. And you could set those props off to the side if you had them. You might even like to keep them underneath the hands for our next couple of poses. We'll just finish off with a little more slow movement before we come on down to the mat. So hang loose there in your forward fold. Feel free to bump the hips a little side to side. And then we'll make our way to our halfway lift. So from your forward fold, maybe with the knees bent, start to straighten through the legs, hands to the thighs. Hug the elbows in to the sides of the body. Find that feeling of a long spine. Back of the neck long. Inhale. Exhale. Back to your forward fold. Here comes our little flow. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Maybe a little opening through the chest. Exhale, right back down to your Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Start to sync it up with the breath. Inhale, reach. Volcano pose. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Move through at your own pace. One more full round. We'll meet in our volcano pose and then release it. Tadasana, arms along the sides of the body. Palms face forwards. Make your way down onto your mat through a tabletop. We're all fours. And here's where that blanket or towel might come in handy. We're making our way into a sleeping pigeon. So right knee closer to the right wrist. And then it might feel nice to fold that towel up, bring it underneath the right hip. As you're ready, lower it down. If you have those blocks, the bolster, you could certainly use those for out in front to rest the forearms or to rest the hands, to rest the forehead. You always have the option to take this on the back, a figure 4. If pigeon doesn't feel like the most comforting or comfortable shape. Just a minute or so here. Breathing into the belly. Start to make your way up. We'll shift it back to our tabletop. Let's take one round of cat and cow. And when you come back to your neutral spine, you can switch up your prop if you had that. And we'll send the left knee forwards closer to the left wrist. Coming into your Kapotasana, your pigeon, or your figure four on the opposite side. And then of course, if you like, you can add that element of the forward fold. Remind yourself, especially if the mind is still feeling busy, that there is nothing else you need to do right now except this. Anything you need to attend to, you will attend to later when practice is done. For now, you are just attending to this experience, this body, this moment. Make your way up. Find your tabletop. And then we'll make our way to a seat for our final shape. And you can set your prop aside if you had that. We're coming into this kind of unusual variation, what I like to call kind of a side saddle pose. You might have heard it called mermaid pose. So coming off onto one hip, so I'm kind of lowered down onto the right hip, and then we'll switch up our sides. And then we'll take our twist here over to the left. So if you're on your right hip, if that's the one lowered down, you'll twist over to the left. So we get a bit of a different angle here, which I really like. This asymmetrical shape through the legs and the pelvis. So get curious here about how that changes the twist up through the rest of the body. And make your way back to center. We'll shift now onto the opposite hip, whichever you haven't done yet, or if you're following along with me, we'll shift to the left hip down, and then over to the right for our twist. Final few moments here to balance. Back to center. We'll end in a reclined butterfly. If you've got the blocks or the bolster, I really encourage you to use those, take advantage, make this a soft reclined butterfly. Or, of course, you could always just take it into Shavasana. We'll just be here briefly as our last shape to seal in our reset. Just choose a shape that feels especially comforting. So for me, this is one of those shapes, but for you, it may not be. So maybe it's a Shavasana. Maybe you use the bolster instead under the knees in your Shavasana. Close the eyes. Soften the tongue and the mouth. And let's together draw all of our attention to the simple movement of the belly. Together, honing our awareness into this continuous, constant movement of the inhale and the exhale. Feel the belly rise. Feel the belly soften. Feel the belly rise. Feel the belly soften. Keep going with that awareness. Stay here for as long as you have, or meet me in a seat. Let's say together, the light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.